Hey, folks, welcome to the Superman Super Show live episode 40. Yeah, episode 40. I'm a host, Steven. I'm a host that has no more toast. And then over there,
that's me. I'm over there.
We got the Ed. We got the Ed Moore.
Over there. Did you see that Derek put up the last comic book?
Yeah, listened to it yesterday.
Yeah. Kind of sad.
You know what? Yeah, and the funny thing is there was at one point there when he started, because he was talking about how he had, he put the post up on social media that he was getting ready to record the final episode. And he was talking about some of the responses that he got. And I almost wanted him to say, where were all these great comments, for the past, because nobody engages with podcasts.
Right. When he asks for comments. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. My wife and we were in the middle of watching something on TV, and I saw him post that, and I just asked her, I said, can you mute that for a minute? Let me listen to this. It's about 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it was so him. I mean,
oh yeah. It was just another episode of the show, except that he had said, this is the last episode of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Ed. The next, the last episode of Superman Super Show that I had edited was the bonus episode that's up right now. I think it's bonus episode number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that episode, now I can't remember when it was recorded, but it's a few, we're a couple of months ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So that was recorded back in probably early July. But in it, we're talking about TV and movies and junk like that. And I mentioned having just watched the new Captain America movie. Right. And you mentioned having just gotten the DVD, but you haven't watched it yet. And I talked about how it was kind of blah. It was all right. It was kind of neutral. And I said at one point, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on it when you finally watch it. So I have to ask, did you watch it?
Yes.
Whew. I was getting ready to sweep everything off the table if you said no.
Oh.
Did I
Go
quit?
Watch it. What are you doing?
You ruined everything.
Yeah, I've watched it. Okay. Any movie talk, I have to preface with the fact that I watch movies for one reason, and that's to be entertained. So at 55 plus years of age, being a male that grew up in the 80s and 90s, my bar for entertainment perhaps is relatively low. Just to be honest with you, it doesn't necessarily take much.
I'm the same way when it comes to movies.
I want to be entertained, and I can particularly tell if I watch a movie and I can't really tell how long I've been watching, how long it's taken. That is pretty much my key for, well, then the movie worked. I was entertained enough that I didn't realize it was only 75 minutes or it was 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, then the movie did what I want a movie to do.
It let you escape, period.
Now, beyond that, the Marvel movies I'm interested in watching because I want to keep up with the different Easter eggs and the different connections that they put in there, just so that I have a fuller idea of what the heck is going on with the next one, with whatever the TV show or the movie that is next. Yeah. And I don't have to pull out the phone in the middle of the movie and who the hell is this, or, stuff like that. So it did that, of course. Beyond that, I have to say, reference my comments previously about Captain America that I've made on the show.
Right.
He is not Captain America. I don't like the fact that he has Cap's shield. He can wear red, white, and blue. Whatever. There's no corner on that market. That's fine. But he is not Captain America. He is not. I do like the fact that they introduced the Red Hulk. That's kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought this whole time that he had undergone whatever on purpose.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me that it would be something that someone is doing to him without his knowledge. I thought that was cool because I wasn't expecting it. The using of that scientist that had been used to create the Abomination in a previous Hulk movie that had never been, none of the other Hulk movies have ever been referenced in another movie.
Yeah.
Making you think that they were all standalone movies or whatever, but everybody's saying, well, no, that's part of the MCU. This movie actually said that because they used some previous Hulk. I think they used previous Hulk stuff from all of the Hulk movies, I believe.
I don't think the Ang Lee.
They didn't use that one with Bana.
Right.
Eric Bana.
Yeah.
Okay. Which,
I don't
okay.
Know.
Yeah. Right. So the lead up, isn't this a lead up into the Thunderbolts movie?
I don't know. I'm not really much? I'm really behind on what this phase is. I know that they're
I don't know.
to Secret Wars or something. I
know
that there's 2 or 3 events that they got coming up. I don't know which one's first. But
that's right. Yeah. I don't put much stock in that phase or whatever.
I mean, I haven't been. I think about the first, the first 3 phases going all the way to Endgame. That how tuned in and into it and following all this the shit online and trying to learn. To the point that when I get to Endgame, there are moments in that movie where I am actually feeling emotional because I'm seeing stuff in live action that I just never thought I'd ever see. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And,
for sure.
But this, ever since, then the following phase, it's like I was kind of into that because that we had like WandaVision. The shows were, it was a new, they hadn't done the shows before. So that was a new,
right. Other than S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, right.
They had made references to S.H.I.E.L.D., but yeah, you're right. But then, honestly, up until that point, we really hadn't had a whole bunch of shows come out either. So there wasn't a whole lot to use. I mean, there was Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, which you could say, maybe they're not, maybe they. But if you look at an official listing of everything to watch to be up, both of those shows are listed.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But yeah, but after that, I guess it would be whatever current, what are they calling them now? I've been using the word the whole time I've been talking. I want to say season, but that's not phase.
Phase,
whatever. Whether we're in phase 5, phase 6, I don't know where we're at, but I have not really given much of a shit about this phase so far. I've watched everything that they've put out, and I've been like, all right, it's all right. Let's get to some let's either get to some really small stories with characters that we never see, or let's get to some just really big stories that are earth shattering. Let's just get both of those. But I started to think today that what I think they should do, since they're really trying to cut back on a lot of that, there's starting to, Disney's like, all right, hold on. We're about to, we've oversaturated the market. Let's just back it up a little bit. Thunderbolts, which I haven't seen yet. I've heard that it's the best one since, I don't know, Endgame or something, but it didn't do well in the theaters. So Marvel considers it a flop.
That's because it's using a bunch of C-list characters, maybe. I don't know. I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah.
Now I do see that that they did make a connection with Thunderbolts because Sam has been asked to start a new Avengers.
Yes.
And it's already been in the news that Thunderbolts, a side title for that is the New Avengers.
Yeah.
And if there is some kind of Civil War II or something like that coming up, then right there you have a setup between the Avengers controlled by nobody and the Avengers controlled by the government per se. Also I think it's in Thunderbolt. Can I spoil a piece of Thunderbolts, or would you rather me not? It's quasi. They make a connection between Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four movie at the end of Thunderbolts.
Cool.
So there's a connection there. As far as movie A and then the next movie and then the next movie. So they're putting those out there. Right now, as far as TV shows, the only things I see on the horizon are animated. They just put out the History of Wakanda animated series, or whatever you want to call it. Marvel Zombies is the next one that I've seen as far as TV shows, and I don't remember seeing a live action from now until I think next summer is when Zombies is supposed to be out. So I guess what they have done is maybe they have decided to take away the live action and put it into movies. I don't know, but
and it's funny because they're animated shows, and I'm gonna go off mainly with What If, because that's the only ones I've watched so far.
Right.
It has this style, this CGI computer generated style, but I've watched all the What Ifs. I've really enjoyed them, but it took me forever to even want to start, because there's my big thought is this. All right. So these are characters, these are superheroes that are going back decades, that were created for comic books and drawn in a way that doesn't translate to real life. Right. The costumes and stuff don't really translate that well into real life. So, we finally, I guess, start getting these movies from Marvel, and everybody's enjoying them, and I'm enjoying them, and I'm fine with the way they make the characters look with their realistic like costumes, because it makes more sense being live action. So basically they take think of like the Captain America costume in the comics from the 80s. They've taken that costume, turned it into something more realistic that makes sense for the real world, and then turned around and animated that. That doesn't make sense.
Well, they want to connect the two.
I know. So. No, marketing wise, yeah. I mean, it makes sense, but it just, I don't understand why you would take something that's out of this world and make it more realistic, because it's got to be live action, but then put it into a medium that's built for out of this world stuff.
Now it's interesting you can say that, because what I'm hearing is that basically with animation, you can animate anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So my argument, the other side of the coin to what you're saying is, well, if they can animate anything, then why not?
Yeah. Why not animate real life?
Yeah. I mean, you can animate any, so it could look. And the only way that you say, I think, that it looks that you're using the word realistic is because you've already seen something like that somewhere. Yeah. If you hadn't seen that, would you still be saying that, do you think? Well, that looks like a real world. I wouldn't, because it's animated. It's seldom that I ever see anything animated and think, oh, that's what it would look like in the real world. If
it was a property that started out like live action, and then they're translating it to an animated in a comic book world, that's one. I get it. It's just one of those little things of mine, because my thought is, the reason why most people go to something like animation or comic books is simply because it's a medium that you can do stuff. There are things that you can do in comics that you can't do in any other medium.
Right. Yeah.
And
there are far less constraints as far as what you can create and make seem viable. You're absolutely right.
To me, it's like they've taken this comic book story that is written in a way that only works in comics, and they've had to just translate it for live action.
For
the
for
screen.
real world, for something a human being could actually wear or what. Yeah.
And then they take that translation and make another comic book out of it. And it in my mind, I'm making perfect sense.
Don't focus on the costume though. Focus on the story. Watch them for the story to see how the people connect, and then at the end wonder, okay, now how are they going to use that in a live action? What is going to be the strain of the one line that they use to connect the two? You know,
look, 9 times out of 10, if the story kicks ass and the art for me is passable, I'm not looking at costumes and shit because it's just a good story. But because I think maybe that might be one of the reasons I haven't been getting into new Marvel lately, is because I look at the previews and the covers, and I'm just like, it doesn't feel, DC has always felt godlike with their superheroes, whether they're Superman all the way down to Batman. There's still this presence.
Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's animated, or is that the comic book Earth's Mightiest Heroes, or is that an animated show?
They did an animated show with that name. If that's what he's talking about, I have seen bits of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It was pretty good.
And this is Andrew and Andre TFG, if I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if not. For anybody that's listening. So it's curious, Steven. That's a mighty difficult hill to plant a flag on, dog.
But
the costume, it's like, okay, yeah, you run with that. Okay, it's
Andre says, it was the animated show.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of that one.
Look, if anybody in this world knows that my brain doesn't quite work the way it should, I just everybody thinks of stuff differently. Everybody puts things together in their head differently.
Yeah, people are entertained and not entertained by different things. Whatever. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm just saying, that's a tough hill to defend. As far as this is it, because I don't like to stir on his chip. Okay, dog, you got me there.
Well, and think about.
I can't do that one.
There was a time in the 90s when I was, after I'd moved out of the house, I was buying I was buying clothes for myself and junk like that. And I started really getting into comic book t-shirts. And do you remember the company Graffiti?
Oh yeah.
I bought all my comic book t-shirts. I bought from them because they had those really great, like all the DC shirts had a logo. Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, they all had a logo. Whereas Marvel, some of them did, some of them didn't, because not all the heroes have that. And what's weird about that for me is that growing up, the comic books that imprinted on me, that I was a Marvel zombie as a kid. So you'd think that I would be sitting here now going, no, Marvel's still the best and DC sucks.
Right.
Down with DC. But I think DC is still kind of capturing that just visually, when I'm just visually looking at previews, because I haven't been able to dedicate a lot of time to reading a lot of comics. But when I'm just looking visually, I'm like, DC feels like it's awakening the child in me, and Marvel not so much.
Okay. Yeah, I am.
And I think blame it on the realistic costumes.
A host of reasons, in my mind, why you could say that DC is more successful with comics right now than what Marvel is. And that's getting to be a big argument online. And I think there's a lot of support for that, for various reasons that, maybe DC is right now making better comic books than Marvel.
Maybe.
So
it's good. That shit goes. It's cyclical.
I read them both. I mean,
Yeah.
I read almost as many sucky comic books as I read good ones. So it's like, again, I read comic books to be entertained. And if it entertains me, I don't care. Could it be better? Yeah, probably. Would I read it again? No, but I'll read the next one. It's whatever. I've read them forever. It's one of the things I do. Those are the only justifications I really need.
Yeah. Well, I think I've just kind of reached a point where it's kind of like podcasts. I'll start a podcast I've never listened to before, and whoever the host is can get 4 words out of their mouth, and I'm like, nope, this is not for me.
Sure.
The voice does, and maybe if I would have just given it a chance, the voice I would have gotten used to it and would have discovered a really great show. But there's so many out there. It's a lot easier for me to look at like the Marvel comics coming out for the month and going, no.
Yep, none of that.
Maybe
does anything.
Yeah, maybe next year, maybe next month.
Right.
A book will come up from Marvel and I'll go, holy crap, that looks amazing,
Yep. Oh, I 100% agree with that. My probably 75-80% of my comic buying is out of habit. It's not because of something about the book interested me or whatever, which here before too long will have to change because my wife is, I think probably by this time next year, is going to have retired. And then it'll be a countdown for my retirement.
Yeah, nice.
And with retirement comes a change in funding. And so, decisions will have to be made.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's talk about some Superman, man.
All right. Settle down. There's like cat hair coming off my microphone. It's the air conditioner is making it flap in front of my eyes.
Talking about movies, I've also seen Superman and Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I know we talked a bit about Superman last time without revealing any spoilers because I haven't seen it yet.
You hadn't seen it yet. Yeah.
And I haven't seen Fantastic Four yet either. It's funny because and I think I mentioned this last time too, that suddenly my youngest, Palin, just based off of clips from the movie that they were putting on TikTok, just fell in love with Superman. And she'd already kind of been dipping her toes in the DC universe because she really likes the whole Poison Ivy Harley Quinn thing.
Okay.
So she's been reading a lot of Harley Quinn stuff, and she watched the Harley Quinn show on the animated series on DC, and which she wouldn't let me watch with her because it gets rather filthy, apparently. So
I guess you don't want to sit there next to your dad and watch that.
That's
right.
Right. But she was like, I don't know, Dad, we may just have to, I'll just have to pay for us to go see that movie before I go back to school. And we just
not going to wait.
Yeah. Because we moved her in yesterday, so we just kind of forgot about it, but it'll be on Max before you know it.
The Fantastic Four probably will be the most different of all of the Marvel movies so far. And you probably can get an inkling of that by any teasers and trailers and whatever you've seen. It's and come to find out, which I thought was a brilliant idea. Within the first 30 seconds of the movie, they tell you that this is not Earth in 616.
Nice.
So any of those arguments, shove up your tail, because it is not the same unit. And they say there is no, I mean, they tell you in universe, and it was like 815 or something like that. And I was like,
yeah,
thank you. Right there it is. All you people shut up about that, how it's different.
I kind of assumed that they would be in an alternate universe simply because everything looks like it's from the 60s, first of all. And the only way that they could have been around in the 60s and nobody in the MCU knows about them is if they went with my idea, which was the whole something happens to. It's kind of like a Sentry. Is that the dude's name? That he
everybody forgot about him.
Everybody forgot about him. Yeah.
After some amount of his adventures. And,
yeah. So that, I thought at one time that's how they bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU. But because they're hitting that multiverse drum so hard in the last few years, it just makes sense that it's going to be an alternate universe, especially since we have already seen a version of Mr. Fantastic from another universe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
awesome cameo at the end. The end credits. There's a mid credit and an end credit. Awesome cameo at the end credit.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. That was like, okay, good way to end this movie. That was, yeah, that worked.
How was Galactus?
Okay. I mean, it was.
Did you believe that a giant purple man would walk through New York City?
Yeah, conceivably. With the way that he was set up, the question though was why. Yeah. But I mean, it was possible. And it was possible from the beginning. The very beginning, you didn't know that it had anything to do. Galactus had anything to do with an individual per se. But then you quickly see that there is this part or all of a big dude that's involved. And, you know, the fact that this dude could be separate and walk. Yeah. I mean, if he has any semblance of a soul, I could see at times where he would want to get down and walk a planet before he ate it, just to keep, you know, some, and this isn't the right word, but the only phrase I can think is to keep some semblance of his humanity, because, you know, here, just like in the comic book, he presents himself not as anything other than just a force of nature.
Yeah.
He does what he does because it is required of the scheme of things. He takes no pleasure. It doesn't bother him. He does what he does because it has to be done. It's part of everything. And I could see at times where maybe if he is a creature with a soul, there would need to be a little bit more. And so he would take a walk on a Garden of Eden that he found before he ate it, just to be able to, if not appreciate what he's about to eat. It's, you
gotta squeeze the avocados to make sure they're ripe. You gotta, knock on the cantaloupe,
Well, they tell you, and I'm not the biggest proponent of this, but they tell you eat with your eyes first. Well, why is it? Well, because it looks, it's colors and textures. And so it, I could see Galactus conceivably on occasion wanting to do that.
Yeah. He's a foodie.
So, with all that, it's like, well, yeah. Now that's not why he disgorged himself from the rest of his stuff and came to Earth. That was the reason he was walking was a very solid story point.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something. He's
down there taking pictures of his food for the gram.
Well, yeah, really, yeah, the galactogram. Yeah. So it's not just something that happened or he did out of character or something like that. There's a very specific plot point that indicates why he is walking through New York City, literally through New York City.
How was the Thing? He's like the one that I love the most from.
He's fine. He's fine. They get into an issue where, for reasons, he is not able to shave, and so it looks weird. And actually, what happens is he was in the process of shaving when some things happen, so he only has half a beard.
That's great.
And it looks really.
I thought
weird.
I saw an image of him with a rocky beard, and I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, like it looks like, and because of his CGI, it looks like just a really long chin. Like it mutated his. And it's like, no, that's actually supposed to be beard hair in the rockiness, and it didn't work. It wasn't necessary. Right. And I don't think with the CGI that it really worked. It made him look kind of goofy. Yeah.
I remember George Lucas in one of those behind the scenes things for the special editions talking about Star Wars: A New Hope. and he's like, some things you add to a movie or a story because it helps to move, it's necessary to move the plot along.
Sure.
Sometimes you add something to the story because it's going to tug on heartstrings. He goes, and sometimes you add something to the story just out of pure whimsy. He goes, and he says,
because you can.
Yeah, he says dewbacks were put into Star Wars out of whimsy. He just the big lizards that the
I don't know. They were pretty useful.
But that's why they could have been riding speeder bikes.
Oh, I guess they could have ridden anything.
Yeah. But he's like, I want them to ride big lizards.
Well, but it makes sense. They're an indigenous species. The Tusken Raiders are able to, the Tusken Raiders. Isn't that who rode the dewbacks?
Am I saying the right word? It's
it wasn't the Tusken Raiders. They rode those big mammoth looking things with the big horn, Princess Leia horns.
What were they called?
Yeah, no, the dewbacks. Nobody really rode the dewbacks. They were
Banthas.
Just there. Yeah, banthas were. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll quit before I show that I really don't know much about Star Wars. But I do know that A New Hope is the best of the Star Wars movies, and this is me standing on a hill planting a flag. It's the best Star Wars movie for one reason. Quick explanation. One reason why. Without it, nothing else.
That's right.
Automatically makes it the best. If you like the franchise, this is where it started. It's the best movie because it started the franchise. And you can, the acting. No, I'm sorry. If it wasn't there, you would not have anything else to bitch about.
Yep.
At all.
Yeah, it's hard for anybody who didn't see it back then. To understand the impact.
When it came out in a theater, that is the place to have watched A New Hope. And it was.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit later, you add to that by reading sci-fi fanzines that it was intended to be a B movie. A B movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And look at what it was like. I'm like, since then, you show me another movie that was intended to be a B movie that went on to do what Star Wars has done.
Well, I was going to say the B movie, but it didn't do what Star Wars did.
Yeah, no,
it was popular, but it didn't.
Yeah, but not like this.
It was intended to be a B movie.
TV and cartoons and comic books and a plethora of other movies, and a set of movies that high level stars will take any part just to be in one, just to be a piece, completely in makeup. You have no idea, but they can say, "Hey, I was in such and such movie. That's me right there." That
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's So
back to the thing real quick. I'll just say because I know a lot of people bring it up lately. I really liked the version of the thing from the Tim Story. Is it Tim Story? The two Fantastic Four movies that came out.
Chiklis, Michael Chiklis.
Yeah. I just heard somebody the other day on a podcast talking about, they had him in this rubber costume, and it's like, I've seen YouTube videos where somebody will be cracking wise about that costume and how terrible it looked. And as they're saying it, they're showing a clip from the movie, and I'm just like, that looks really good.
You're like, how is that bad? Yeah.
There's something, especially when you watch it with the sound, because they do a really good job of having the rock brick sound, like when his fingers, it is just really cool.
And I think that a lot of thoughts like that give away a person's age and experience.
Yep.
Because there has never been, that I can remember, a better rubber costume than the first Godzilla costume.
Yeah.
That was 100% rubber. You could tell when they moved at times, it creased. But it's Gojira. And that is... Man.
Every summer, either TNT or TBS did Monster Week, and they would play a Godzilla movie, each day of the week. So 5 Godzilla movies. And it was one of those things that you looked forward to as a kid. Not only it's summertime's coming up, 4th of July, and Monster Week. You was, you just loved Monster Week.
Now, have they gotten better with it? Well, yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, there's no denying that. But to say that was bad, once again, to say that was bad, well, that's where it started, dude. So if it didn't start bad, you wouldn't have better.
Well, and in many cases, it wasn't bad at the time.
At the time.
That was pretty good shit at the time.
It was the best they could do at the time in most cases.
Yeah.
This is what they had. Look at Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yep.
Wolfman, Frank, a lot of those Hammer, or not Hammer, Universal monsters. Compared to now, what they did was like, ugh. But at the time, in the late 50s, in the middle 50s, that stuff was awesome.
And I prefer the Universal Monsters version of the Wolfman.
Oh, I do too.
I do. I hate it when they make them like big mutant wolves. That just drives me crazy. But I always point out to Teen Wolf. That's okay. That's where that's what a Wolfman should look like.
Yep, that was yep.
But all right, banter. Anything else that you have?
Pre-show banter.
Yeah.
No, nothing else to add.
Okay, let's get this party started then.
Let's go.
The following episode was recorded in front of a live streaming audience on Saturday, August the 16th, 2025. Are you singing? Let's get this party.
Let's get this. Pink's version.
I'm coming up.
So you better get this party started.
Hell yeah, man! That's a jam.
Yep. Yeah. Back when she was not a mom. Now, as the mom singing it, it doesn't come off in my head the same way that it did back in the day. Yeah.
Yep. All right. You're listening to the Superman Super Show, episode number 90, Zimba's Gold Badge Terrorists. Hello and welcome to the Superman Super Show. I'm a host. My name is Steven. And 1,000 miles over there to my right is another host, the actual, probably the most important host, the Mr. Ed Moore. I'm going to add a "the" in front of anything I call you. Even if I call you a shithead, I'm going to call you the shithead.
He is the shithead. Oh, okay. That sounds like something Trump would want.
You reach for the stars.
To put a "the" in front of the Trump. It's...
Look, you can be the shithead if you wanted to be the shithead. You can be whatever you want to be, man.
That's it. That's what I grew up being told, and I have never forgotten that. You can be anything you want. So I want to be the shithead.
I want to be the shithead.
Okay, go ahead.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Got done actually yesterday. The room that I'm in, we did a 50% redo of the room, and in another couple weeks when we recover, we'll do the other 50% and turn this a little bit more into a place where we can podcast, a place potentially by this time next year that my wife couldn't work out of if she chooses to. Some other things. So we're
putting up foam. Them foam egg cartons, as people call them.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go that far. I'll close the door here to it, but yeah, no.
I would just I would like to just, put like a almost like just curtains behind me,
right?
That I could move out of the way when I'm not podcasting, and then just because
how about
deadness behind me,
hanging from the roof, one of those curtain things that they will put over a shower.
Yeah, a round shower to surround you. Yep.
Yeah, you could probably you'd want to use blackout curtains.
Yeah,
and just in a booth. It would be a podcasting booth there in the middle of the room.
Yep.
Yep.
Is it we're going through another heat wave over here.
Yeah,
getting pretty crazy. We drove south to Pittsburgh, Kansas, which is, we're in the Northeast and Pittsburgh is in the basically almost the Southeast corner. So took Palin to school yesterday. She's second year going back, and moving her stuff across that parking lot. It was so hot.
Yeah. Yeah, not that walking across a parking lot isn't going to be hot enough as it is,
right?
But yeah, it's what's her major?
Marine biology.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I made the same comment I'm going to make now. Interesting, in the middle of Kansas.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's what are you going to do? I'm a skiing major in Florida.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think the idea is for her, because they have them, the classes, but take whatever she can here to get to a certain point.
Transfer.
And if she, go to one of the coasts and
Yeah. Well, and even if not, I'm sure inland it's possible to find a very solid program.
Oh yeah.
You're going to have to touch the ocean at some time. So maybe they have a summer 6-week thing for one of the, or something like that, So yeah, no, I make fun of it just because intuitively you're like, what? That's all. Not that it's not possible, particularly in the 21st century, but you're like,
when you're thinking of the country laid out before you, and you're thinking of marine biology,
where do I want to go? Yeah, to get that program.
It's state of Kansas is not the first thing that leaps to mind.
Yeah, actually, for me, the first thing that comes to mind with Kansas is college football, but that's because I'm a college football fan. So, well, good for her.
Drove through campus the other day. They got a bunch of roads in Lawrence. They're doing a lot of construction, and on the weekend, it's easy to zip through campus to get to certain places. And it's the first time I've been on campus in probably over a decade. And it's like, whoa, all this, there's a bunch of new buildings. Palin was with me, and I'm like, this is a campus, right? And she's like, yeah, it's too big.
Okay. Yeah. I definitely can appreciate that too. Had my share of colleges I went to and have been to since. And yeah, there's, I never will forget. I went to the campus of Rutgers to watch WVU and Rutgers play. Rutgers campus was so big that they had it divided up by major.
Okay.
So that all of your general studies classes, English, math, social sciences, all those things, would all occur in this cluster of buildings based on your major, because then your major classes would be in this cluster of buildings too. So it was like so big that they had to divide it up by the major, rather than when I went to college here at Concord, you walked your ass across campus 5 times a day to go to the different buildings, the different classes. They were relatively close. I mean, you had usually 10 minutes between classes, I think. So, you could do that at a place like Rutgers, or even the flagship college for West Virginia now, West Virginia University. No, they're so big it's not possible. So
I'm nodding along as if I know, as if I have no experience. Not at all. I was going to be a rock star.
Well, that's okay. It's a choice.
Yeah. I remember distinctly telling my guidance counselor, who said, "Well, but you still got to have a backup plan." I said, "If you got a backup plan, you're setting yourself up for failure."
No.
See, yeah, that's what a 17-year-old says.
It sounds, from a certain point of view, like that makes sense, but I think real life quickly shows you. Yeah, no. I mean,
yeah, adult Steeven, 53-year-old Steeven now looks back at 17-year-old Steeven and says, "You dumb son of a bitch."
And the classic example of that is, you are told never quit your job until you have another one to go to.
Yep.
That is the epitome of a backup plan. So when you get pissed and you throw in those papers, make sure you got another one set up. So
it's not as exciting. I did quit one job. I walked out in the middle of a job with nothing
really
lined up. Yeah.
I've never, I had feelers out a couple times when I have quit. And they worked out, but it's not like I had already accepted or knew that I would get in or anything like that. Anytime I have ever quit a job, typically I know I'm getting to that point, so I start looking, and but I've never rage quit yet. What I want to do, I want to be in a position like, say, having won the lottery and work a job where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you just don't give a fuck.
Just to see what that feels like. Not that I would be a dick and shit on the job, but I just want to know, I'm going in today and I absolutely do not have to.
Yeah.
I could have called in today because I can, but I didn't. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever know what that feels like, but I've always wanted to feel, you worked 40 hours and you did not have to. Why? Just because I could. I don't know. No, for my entire adult life, it's like, no, I worked those 40 hours because I had to work those 40 hours. That's my life. So
yeah, I told Karen the other day, like last month, I think it was, I said, I'm finally starting to accept the fact that the big payday is not coming. I keep, we're going to get out of this. We're going to get to we'll get there, we'll buy a brand new car one day. Right. And it's just, I think it was after my birthday. It's like, stop stressing. Just,
do with what you can.
Yep.
Let's
scratch my nose.
All right. So
let's talk about this comic. Oh, go ahead.
Any more banter? Those of you need to check out the live stream playback, because we did, I don't know, what is it we did about half an hour of banter there. So that was the real banter.
And it will be an episode of some sort at some point.
Oh yeah. One of your bonus episodes, episode 8 or I don't know. Yeah. So, okay. Yep. Talk about some soups.
All right. Today we are looking at Zimba's Gold Badge Terrorists, which sounds like something you could pick up off the shelf at like a Kmart.
Almost like maybe you want to cook with it or something.
Yeah. Or some
type Zimba's Gold Badge.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe some type of special real estate agent. It's like my realtor is a gold badge.
Yes.
It's a Zimba Gold Badge terrorist.
Yep.
Yeah. This isn't just your average terrorist. They are a gold badge terrorist. They've earned that gold badge.
Yep.
So this is the first of the 4 Superman stories that appear in Superman number 11. It was written by Jerry Siegel and the art was by Leo Nowak. Superman number 11 has a cover date of July/August 1941, but according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics at Mike'sAmazingWorld.com, it hit newsstands on May the 2nd, 1941. And here's what happened. The small suburb of Metrodale is destroyed by mysterious bombs. Soon, a terrorist organization known as the Gold Badge Organization claims credit and blackmails the people of Metropolis. The Daily Planet refuses to back down, so the terrorists and their leader, Rolf Zimba, bomb the building. Superman stops them from succeeding, but is unable to locate their invisible plane. Superman then poses as Zimba and lures the organization members into a trap where they are arrested by police. The real Zimba captures Lois and takes her aboard the invisible plane, but Superman locates it by sound. He rescues Lois, and Zimba crashes to his death inside the plane. Ed, what'd you think about this one?
I liked it as much as the majority of the Golden Age stories. If you detail all the different things that happened, it sounds like the story was kind of full, but I don't think it necessarily felt like that, like some other stories have, where it goes to this and then that happens and it's here and it's there and I think that the Gold Badge was a solid through line enough. Yeah, that was me. To hold everything close, even though maybe there were a lot of plot points that were hit. I'm not sure if all of that necessarily makes sense. I think it makes sense to us because of how many of these Golden Age stories we've read. But I mean, if this is the first Golden Age story that somebody had read, well, good on you, first of all, because Golden Age is just fun stuff. But I would put it in the top I don't know, maybe third of the stories we've read overall as far as how much I liked it. It was pretty cool.
I loved this story.
Okay.
Easily in my top 10 favorite Golden Age Superman stories, maybe top 5. I don't know because I've never actually sat down and made a list.
Thought about them.
You know, when I think of favorite Golden Age Superman stories, the first one, of course, that immediately leaps to mind. We're just, I think we're going to have to bring it up every single time. And it's the old man in the basement of the orphanage hitting Clark with hitting Superman with an anvil and
with all the torture devices or whatever he had in that.
An old man with nothing going for him other than he's old, holding his own against Superman.
Yep.
And then this one, I mean, there's some big moments in this story. You get, I think, the first time Lois might suspect Clark and Superman. She doesn't quite say it.
That she has said, I don't, maybe the closest would have been something in the drawing, in the way her face was drawn or something like that. But it's not been anything really that she has verbalized that I can remember. So yeah, this is the first time that it's like, oh yeah.
And they actually do it twice in the story. So you get Perry White punching the bad guy, which was awesome.
No doubt. Yeah.
There are so many more of them, and I'll just have to point them out as we go through it. Cause I meant to, I got my note cards out and everything, and I meant to list them all out, but then I got kind of sidetracked putting the episode art together for this episode, even though it's not going to go out for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Right.
It's like, once I focus in on something like that.
This is kind of an iconic image for the cover too, in my mind.
Breaking out of chains.
Superman breaking these chains like this. Yeah. As far as this first story, and this is the only story out of the issue that I've read so far, has absolutely nothing to do with this story. Right. I don't know if it has anything, if it comes up in the other three, we'll mention it. But this is a cover. The splash page, the next page, all of these images, what is it, 246? None of them really have anything to do with. I have an actual splash page.
You've got
out of the omnibus.
I've got it too. They put it in all the Superman issues. They put it's almost like you've got like Superman in the middle, and then Superman it's been in I don't know if it was in Superman #1, but they've had a version of that in each of the issues.
Okay.
They've duplicated them now and again, but yeah.
All right. So on the first actual story page, we have a half-page splash here with some. I'll call them. They look like World War I doughboys.
They do the helmets,
the military, and it's like almost. Or it has already started World War II, and I thought they had gotten away from these into the not pit helmets, but the circular helmet, the pot helmets, But Superman, you can see here, he's holding this tank, and the doughboys here are shooting at him. And the narrator is telling us, when an entire suburb is blown up, when a secret terrorist organization threatens to smash the government, when man-made laws are totally disregarded. Kind of sounds familiar. Yeah. Anyways, by a power-mad individual, it's time for Superman, indomitable man of steel, to step in. He does, and the thrilling events that ensue combine to make one of the most startling adventures the mighty man of tomorrow has ever encountered.
Yeah. First off, good job with the word indomitable. Just thinking of trying to say that out loud.
Indomitable man of steel.
Just gums me up. This, for me, yes, this was not the most startling adventure of Superman's to date. No. But I will say that from that text box, I was hooked. I'm like, all right, let's get
Sure,
it
yeah.
on.
Yeah, that's an excellent start,
Yeah.
as any of them have been. That one really kind of sets the mood. If not, I mean, it's not overly specific or anything, but it definitely sets the mood. Plus, you have to admit, having this bunch of what to me look like Allied at the very least, or even American soldiers shooting at Superman, who is tearing into presumably one of their tanks. It's like, wait, these are our guys and Superman is our guy. So what in the world is going on here?
And it actually happens in the story.
This picture does. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to look and see if that exact picture is used or if that is
I don't know.
a secondary rendition of the scene. But yeah. So,
but we've mentioned before these opening text boxes, these, we love these. And because I know that I picture a guy in a suit and a little bow tie with the headphones on is standing in front of those mics with the big circle mics,
and these,
announcing it for the radio. But this one, so that they've all been great. We've loved them all, but this one I think was just a little bit better than most of the others.
So after having read that, the next thing you would see is calling all firefighting stations and police cars, drop all of their assignments and speed to Metrodale. Terrific disaster coming out of their it's at the paper, so it's probably not a radio, but some sort of receiver that they use to hear the police broadcasts as they come through real time.
Yeah, that's why I think they mentioned in Superman #1. That's why Clark took a job as a news reporter, so he can
hear right as Superman to be able to hear stuff. So it's in presumably Perry's office, and we actually see his face here.
Yeah.
Lois and Clark and Perry are, I don't know, whatever, having some kind of meeting there, and they hear this announcement. So Clark and Lois immediately run down to get to Metrodale, and in order to do that, they see a police car zooming almost by, and Lois steps out in front of the car, in the street in front of the car, to get it to stop. Her and Clark jump in, and sure enough, it's Sergeant Casey. Fortunately, if it hadn't been Casey, she probably would have been run down. But I'm sure Casey recognized her, not just as some kook jumping out in front of the car, but as Lois Lane. So now Casey, another officer, Lois and Clark head to Metrodale. They get there, and it looks like we are seeing from behind them.
Before we get to the next page, I got a couple comments to make about this page. The first one is Lois's response to the thing coming over the wire. She refers to Metrodale as the exclusive suburbs.
Okay, money.
So I think in our day we'd call it probably a gated community. It's just probably the rich folks' neighborhood.
Yeah.
But it immediately makes me think, oh, that's where all the white folks live.
Okay, sure.
It's like an exclusive country club, right?
Yep.
You know, that don't let anybody but white in. And then the second thing I want to comment on, same panel, Perry's response. I just love his Metrodale. That's the exclusive suburb. And his response is just stop the chatter and cover that story. He's just like, you should have immediately been running out the door as soon as you heard the story.
Just work. That's all. Just work.
Yeah. Because she's barely, that's like 6 words she says. And he's already just like, bro, you got time to lean. You got time to clean. You know, he's a real hard ass. And I think that's funny.
So to get to Metrodale, the camera is behind them. So we are seeing what they're seeing. And it looks like a picture of any bombed out village from World War I or World War II that you can think of. To me, that's exactly what I thought of. Nothing left. Sharp edges and angles from where buildings have collapsed. And they're still smoking. They have gotten there soon enough that everything is still smoking, which is kind of odd. But Metrodale must be relatively close in order to have been able to do this. So they're surveying, and as they're surveying, Clark is using his X-ray vision, and he's getting a closer look. and he sees some people that need rescued, a family, husband and wife and 2 kids. They're trapped under the wreckage. We find out by the end of this scene that apparently the wreckage had collapsed in such a way that they were going to suffocate. That kind of struck me as odd. But so Clark jets away, changes into Superman on the other side of a wall, we're told here, and then appears digging the trapped people out and free them. And then while everybody is focused on the survivors, Superman jets away, changes back to, I guess he remembered which wall and where he put his clothes, because that's got to be everywhere you look, our partial walls and whatever. Yeah. But he changes back to Clark and then zips back into the scene here. So he is on this page. What is this? 5, 6, 7. He's in the first 2. The third panel, he is not. He's Superman 4, 5, and 6, and then he's Clark in 7. So literally, he is zipping out, changing, zipping back in as Superman, staving, zipping out, changing, zipping back in as Clark. In one page, he does all that. And then he says, I heard that Superman just... How did you hear that Superman... No, you just got there. Nobody's talking to you. How do you... But yeah, Superman just performed a rescue. Why is it that he always goes into action when I'm not around? And you're like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have said that, Clark. Right. You're throwing some in there. Who was it? The comedian things that make you go home. Arsenio Hall.
Yeah.
His whole, he had a whole skit based on that.
Well, and if you think about it, they actually notice that Clark is gone. They purposely point out, where did Clark go? Oh, this is probably too much for him, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And so they notice that Clark is gone, and then Superman shows up, and then Superman leaves, and then Clark shows up again. That is so, it's not like suddenly Superman's there and they're like, Superman, Clark, look, oh, where'd Clark go? It's the fact that they see that he leaves, Superman replaces him, Superman leaves, Clark replaces him. It's screamingly obvious. And yet he feels the need to really hammer down on how obvious it is, just in case you're not paying attention.
I always really miss him.
Yeah.
He's never here when I'm here.
We're never in the same room together. We have the same build, and we look alike.
Dog. Because at this point, Lois says, that's right. You're rarely around when Superman pulls his stunt. Is it possible that ... And so now would she have necessarily, in everything that they're doing, have put that together at this time? Probably not, because they just got some survivors, which means there could be other survivors, which means we need to keep looking. All of this devastation. Oh, Clark, come on and help. Too busy with other things. But Clark says, wow, me and Superman are never at the same place at the same time. Yeah. That's weird. And Lois is like, that is weird.
Yeah, it's like, Clark, you have just one job, and that's not to point out the fact that
don't make the connection.
You're not to help people make that connection. Dumbass.
Yep. And then we get another hint for some aspects of the story with Sergeant Casey saying, that's odd. I could swear I heard the sound of an airplane motor, yet I see nothing. So, airplane, did it leave? Is it still there, but it's muffled? Is it, there's all kinds of questions that I had when I read this as far as those particular words that he used and what they could imply.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, there's all kinds of explanations why you would hear an airplane and not see it.
Right.
Could be cloudy, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, the fact that he says it, the fact that it's there obviously means something. I want to point out real quick before we move off the page, that second row of panels, the third panel in the second row, when Superman makes his appearance. So you have 2 cops. Mm-hmm. One of them says, wow, just look at the strength of that guy. And the other one says, what's he up to? I'm pointing that out because I'm going to bring it up again later. Just put that in the back of your head.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we have a disembodied voice is announcing. Members of the Gold Badge organization were arrested in Metrodale. Therefore, the suburb has paid dearly.
That is brutal. I mean, I don't know how big a suburb of think of New York City in 1941. How big were the suburbs, right?
Right.
They, with the exception of the one family that we see that's alive, we have to assume they're the only survivors. So we're talking hundreds,
probably of people
at the least, hundreds of people, hundreds of families, maybe, who are
now
just
that's
dead.
That's a lot of people. That's what 2.3 or whatever. So that you're looking at several hundreds of actual people. That are all buried, or even more, counting those people that were injured in one way or another and stumbled out.
So that's something else I liked about this story. You get almost immediately the bad guys are not messing around.
Right. Yeah. Much more serious, seemingly, than a lot of other bad guys have been up to this point.
This ain't an old man running around in the basement of his orphanage.
Yep. And then Lois and Casey and Clark adding flavor to, because the announcement is just a speech bubble in the top of the panel, and it's disembodied. There's no indication of where it's coming from. Actually, the narrator tells us, next instant a great voice booms out of nothingness. So they're standing here in the rubble and they just hear this voice all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Lois says that voice coming from nowhere. Casey says, so that's who's to blame for this outrage. And Clark says, isn't that a secret terrorist organization? So all of those together, and you're like, oh, okay, so these are the people that did it, and they're a terrorist organization, and somehow they can just announce their intentions in the air.
Those words, those three words, secret terrorist organization, I cannot hear those three words put together in that order without completing in my head, secret terrorist organization determined to rule the world, because that's from G.I. Joe. Cobra, a ruthless terrorist order. I don't know. I may have got it wrong now.
I think of Hydra.
Yeah. It's like when somebody goes, stop. There are 3 songs that somebody may immediately go to.
Oh, in the name of love.
In the name of love, collaborate and listen.
Okay.
I don't remember what the third one is now. It's a newer one. But
if it's newer, then it doesn't count.
That's right.
That's fine. We'll pass that on to the next generation, and they can keep up with it. That's okay.
Yep.
So let's see. They drive back, and on the way back, we get the start of the scene. That they drive into. So they start driving back, and then we switch locations back to Metropolis while they're going back. And we see that someone from the Gold Badge organization is announcing to the public on a street corner somewhere. He says, I urge that all of you, and this may be the dude that we go on to know is Rolf Zimba by the looks of it. Can't say that he's not. Can't say 100%. I don't believe that he is, but I would venture to say he is. I urge that all of you join our organization at once. Let me prophesy this. Control of the government will soon be in our hands, and anyone who is not a member of our organization had better beware. Man, that is so today. So people boo, you can't do that. And then immediately after that, the crowd is in an uproar enough that they attacked him and probably several of his cronies that are there with him, which we didn't see as he's making the announcement. But in the next panel, when the fight breaks out, we do see it. Yeah, okay. So, and actually, I thought they got out here, but they don't. Clark and Lois drive on by. No, that's walk on by. Sorry. So they see this fight, but Clark decides, well, that's not us. We don't have anything to do with that. Yeah. Take us on back to the paper. So they go back to the paper. No, I guess maybe that wasn't Rolf, because Rolf is here confronting, what is this? A bank. So, yeah. Okay. So Lois and Clark are coming back from Metrodale. We see that there is there was a word that I was going to use for this kind of thing, but somebody is like announcing, and he starts a fight. Clark and Lois get back to the newspaper, file the news report, the story. Meanwhile, the president of the Metropolis National Bank has a visitor. This is Rolf Zimba. So all of these things are happening almost simultaneously. Clark and Lois, this interaction of we're going to take over the world soon, you need to get in line. And then Rolf showing you here by talking to the bank the kinds of things that this terrorist organization, the Gold Badge organization, is doing to accomplish their goal. He tells the bank president, permit me to introduce myself. I'm Rolf Zimba. You've heard of the Gold Badge organization, haven't you? Well, I represent that organization. I've come to warn you that unless you pay a certain large sum, this bank will be leveled to ashes in a few minutes. And Zimba goes on downstairs and meets a couple of his cronies. Finds out that the Daily Planet, which he probably already knew, has been writing unfavorable articles. And so he decides, well, the next place that we need to stop is to have a talk with the editor of the Daily Planet. He goes in, basically has the same kind of conversation with Perry. I represent the Gold Badge organization. In the past, your newspaper has printed matters which isn't pleasing to us. From now on, you must submit all controversial matter to us before attempting publication. And Perry says, what? Is this a joke? And he says, I assure you, I am deeply serious. I want that right of censorship. Will you give it to me? And Perry says, certainly. You can have it right on the jaw. And he socks him.
Crack.
And he says, don't ever let me catch you here again. And Zimba tells him, you'll pay for this. Within 1 hour, the Daily Planet building will no longer be in existence. This whole paper scene, Steeven, reminds me of the kind of bullshit that we have going on right now today.
Yep.
I mean, it is just so you can draw lines between this and something that has happened in real life in the last 6 months. Yep. And I'm just like, wow, this is just weird reading this. And then say tomorrow morning, looking on news sites or in the paper and seeing the latest. And I'm like, didn't I just read that in a Superman comic book from the 40s? Yeah, it's uncanny.
Old Zimba looks like the devil with his pointy chin beard and his little pencil mustache.
There's a name for that rendition of the devil. Is it Jack Sprat or
I don't know. I know what you mean, but I don't know what it.
Yeah, usually that representation of the devil also has a particular name that is used.
Like a
Jack,
name.
Old Jack, something. Yeah. Anyways, and I'm not trying to offend anyone listening named Jack. So
I am. If your name is Jack, you're Satan.
Okay. Well, there you go. Steeven planting another flag right there. Boy,
send your complaints to I will not read any of your emails at gmail.com.
Yes, right. My give a damn's busted at yahoo.com. That's yeah.
I ain't reading your emails at suckit.com. We could do this all day.
Yep. So right after Zimba is there, it looks like the photographer boy, what's his name? Why can't I think of his name?
Jimmy.
Yeah. Looks like Jimmy Olsen must be in there with him, or who is going to turn into Jimmy.
Yeah.
But
Office Boy, I think is
the
name he's known at this point.
Some young boy with red hair, Lois and Clark pop into Perry's office and find out what happened. Perry tells him, it's only fair to warn you that a threat against this building has been received. And if any of you wish to skedaddle, you're free to go. And Jimmy's like, we'll stick with you, boss. And Lois says, isn't it grand? Not a single coward in the entire outfit. Cue Clark. Yeah, isn't it? Next panel. Excuse me, but I just remembered I have an appointment. And Lois says, do you mind if I amend my last remark? Like, yeah.
That made me laugh out loud because, I mean, when you turn the page, because at first it's like, wow, he really is hammering down this whole I'm a coward thing by getting out of the building. But, you know, then we turn the page and we learn that he's going to go find as Superman, right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
So but still he has to just.
He leans into it. Yes. But it is, I mean, it's like he needed a pitch and somebody just lobbed him a softball. Right. And he's like, you know, he took a big swing and so it's like, okay.
It's like on Laverne and Shirley, whenever the two of them would be in the apartment or wherever, and they'd say something about something being super disgusting or something being super gross or something like that. As soon as they say it, the door would open. Lenny and Squiggy would walk in and both go, hello.
Yep. There you go. It's the perfect setup.
Yep.
Comedic timing. I firmly believe the entire key to comedy is timing. That's all. You can say the most mundane thing, but if you say it at the right time, people will laugh.
And yes. And it's a great shot of Clark there at the bottom of that page when he's like, oh, you know, all worried, that look of worry on his face. Yeah. And also notice this so you've got Perry White in 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, and then his fist in a fifth panel. Mm-hmm. In his interaction with Zimba on this page, cigarette stays in the mouth the whole time.
Yeah.
As soon as he takes care of that Zimba, then he takes a cigarette out of his mouth to talk to his people. They're worth that respect. You're my employees. I will not speak to you with a cigarette in my mouth. But this joker, I'm not even going to bother taking my cigarette out of my mouth, and I'm going to crack him against the jaw with my knuckles.
Yep.
And take some of that. See?
Hey.
Speaking of which, we have a perfect A coming up from Superman that helped cement this as one of my favorite stories.
All right. So the next page, the first panel, we see Clark changing to Soup. Soupy jumping up as unto flying, but it's not 100% given because in the next panel he falls down and grasps a windowsill and hangs. To hear what the Gold Badge people are saying, he tracked Zimba. He got out in time to catch a view of Zimba and tracked him as they went to I don't know, their headquarters, I guess, or an office that they use or whatever. He's hanging outside. Zimba gives the order, the Daily Planet has defied us, therefore it shall be ruthlessly destroyed. And then Superman, what's the character's name? And he busts through the wall. Kool-Aid Man, yes. He Kool-Aid Mans through the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys against him, and they notice. Superman says 12 against 1. How jolly! Pulverize him. Fix the snooper. And so, of course, it's the typical Superman against however many fight. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, breaking jaws, putting people in traction.
Oh yeah, just all kinds of stuff.
This is the A when he comes crashing through that window. So, like you said, they're all the bad guys are standing outside the Daily Planet. The guy is speechifying. The Daily Planet has defied us before. It shall be ruthlessly destroyed. And that's when Superman Kool-Aid Man Kool-Aid Man's the wall and says, just a bunch of tough guys, eh? What say we find out just how tough you are?
Yep. Very, very good usage of the word a. Much more meaningful than when it's at the very end of everything that's said.
Right. Yeah.
Here, it's a setup to something even more pointed. So,
so tough guys, eh? Put him up. Put him up.
Yeah. So Superman just works his way through them, realizes at some point that Zimba isn't here, and he asks, basically he's beaten all the secondhand guys, and he asks, where's your leader? He was right here. Basically, you guys got in my way and kept me from getting to him. Where did he go? And they tell him he's gone to destroy the Daily Planet, and there's nothing you or anyone else can do about it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Next page. Tell me, how is the newspaper building to be destroyed? And the thug that he picks up here says, no one knows except Zimba himself. So Superman now jumps out of the building to go save the Daily Planet, which can't be too far away. I mean, he could almost probably, within a block or two, I would think, get to the Daily Planet, because they didn't show much time between him seeing Zimba and getting to the office. So I imagine that, like, the business district for Metropolis, both of these buildings are right there somewhere. Yeah. But he jumps down to the ground, tells a bunch of, he is at the Planet, the Daily Planet building, and the police are responding to the threat to the building, trying to keep Superman out. He says, let me through. And one of them says, oh, no, you don't. You've got to present credentials. And Superman jumps over him and says, some other time, boys. Right now, I'm too busy. Hey, look at him.
So remember earlier when I pointed out those two cops, and it felt at the time that one of them, seeing Superman doing what he's doing, one of them was really impressed by, look at how strong he is, while the other one was kind of a little negative toward him.
Right.
Like,
what are you up to over there? Yeah.
So here's the panel where he's jumping over cops, and one cop, being negative, says, hey. And then another cop who's not being as he seems more impressed. Look at him. So I think what they're telling us here is that 50% of the cops are on Superman's side, and 50% the Superman is a polarizing figure in the Metropolis Police Department. Okay. I just found it funny that we had two moments where two cops say something, and they're both kind of, one's different, impressed and one's kind of negative. That was fun.
Down toward the composing room streaks the Man of Steel like a beam of light. The bomb, if there is a bomb, would most likely be placed near the basement if Zimba wanted to accomplish a maximum of damage. So he rushes into the composing room.
What's the composing room?
The composing room is where, at this time, and still, I mean, the process basically is the same today. You have a print room where the big machines are that actually print them. Well, what they print now is accomplished with software on a computer. Once upon a time, it was accomplished physically. Yeah, you physically had to place things where your ad was going to be and where your articles were going to be. You had to place blocks of print of a metallic dye, not like dye like colored dye, but the pieces of metal that you print off of are called dye also.
We went somewhere on a school trip in grade school where we each got a letter.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like,
that's what you would do. And it would just be right there because you just needed to take it to the press. So it's not like it'd be, on the 8th floor and you would put it together and then you'd have to transport it. So it's all right in the basement because the big printing presses, again, you're not going to hoist them up to the 8th floor. They're going to be as easy to install. So that's in the basement. So over here, you have some dirty, grimy rooms where the men always have their white shirts, but because they're over top of this stuff that has ink on it. And then they take like these, almost like trays, and they place them in the presses, and the presses will pick up everything and then will roll. And that's what prints out the paper and everything. Yeah. So that's now, the software, I think is the main software actually called Composer? Or so I'd have to ask Terry, but she talks about it. But now and I mean it's like, well, now, and it probably started out that way as an equivalent, but maybe not strictly the same. Now, when you pay for advertising, you pay by size.
Yeah.
So much room, with, I guess, the knowledge that in a given amount of room, you can have a given amount of text, and it's a fixed, given a font size that everybody uses. It's standardized that a 3x3 ad has this many lines of text. So you even have to size on a piece of paper. We have 5 ads, and that gives us this much room left. How much of an article or multiple articles, or what are we going to do with that? So, because you always place what makes the money first, and that's the ads.
Yeah.
And then you backfill with the content of the paper that you or I are interested in. And so here, now you do it on a computer, which of course is way easier. But here you actually would have to do it physically. You would have boards that were the size of one piece of paper, not the two, but just the one size.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have an actual physical bordered board with a little lip on it that you would have to put all this stuff in, and then you would transport that. And so that was what was done in the composing room, was putting that together.
They're not in there writing the next theme for Star Wars or
no. The Sousa does not work in a composing room. No.
I was picturing a bunch of conductors just
sorry
scribbling on
named Wolfgang.
Yeah,
with the little plastic pointy things, wands or whatever they call batons. So Superman looks around and realizes, oh, everything is cool here. He uses his X-ray vision. But while he's there, outside, maybe like right directly outside where he is, there is an explosion. So regardless of the amount of damage it does to the Daily Planet, he Kool-Aid Man's from the inside to the outside to where the explosion occurred. Narrator tells us, scarcely does the sound of the explosion die away that Superman launches himself clear through the side of the building.
Doors? Where we're going, we don't need doors.
And when you're Superman, everything is a door.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
When you're Superman and you don't care about the cost that you're putting on these insurance well, I don't care about the cost of insurance companies, but not everybody had insurance back then. People are having to pay for this stuff themselves.
Well, I mean, this is the building where he works. You would think he would maybe want to be a little bit more careful. It's
maybe he was kind of always hoping they'd put an atrium in that. They just needed to get that wall knocked out.
Well,
killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
They have an entry, right? And right outside, they have already excavated.
That's right. They got a big pit.
Right. So, you can put the pilings in, a little bit of backfill there, a nice substrate to build on, a nice slab, extend the slab for the paper. Yeah. That's all. The explosion occurred in the empty lot adjoining the newspaper building. But why? Now, here very shortly, you'll see why. But at this point, I was like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. So they don't know where to put a bomb, or, why is that? But so again, we see something about this airplane sound in the sky that can't be located to like a specific plane. You hear it, but you don't see it, even for Superman. And different from the first time, with his ears, the plane could be even in a bigger radius area than what the policeman could hear.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, well, if you can't see it, but you can hear it, and you're Superman, well, I guess theoretically it could be anywhere in the world, because now can't Superman hear people talk from,
I don't know if his hearing has reached that level in the golden age. But he would just kind of fly up, 1,000 feet in the air.
Listen. Yeah. Tune in. Up there it is. Yeah. So,
but we have, we with this page here, we have kind of reached a slight milestone, I feel, with Superman, because in the second row of panels, that very first panel, when he hears the sound of this airplane, he looks up and he says, "Nothing in sight. There must be an invisible airplane overhead." So the fact that he could just come to that conclusion so quickly means that an invisible plane is getting to be normal in his life. So we've reached.
He makes a connection. Okay.
We've reached an area. We've reached a point now in Superman's career where the out of the ordinary is starting to become kind of ordinary for him. So
now, if I didn't know better, I would suggest, well, maybe he's had interactions with Diana already.
Right.
But I know that's not the case at this point.
What the Wonder Woman comic was being printed at this point, though, correct?
Yeah.
When did it start? Okay. They're not doing any. I think when did they do the first Batman Superman crossover? That I don't asking questions. I'm just expecting you to know the answer to. I think was it the 50s?
An actual crossover. Now they might have worked together in one of the issues of All-Star Comics.
Yeah.
But maybe not, because they tried not to. They were part of the JSA, but they were seldom in stories because they were busy. It always seemed, and so I don't know until much later if they were ever in an JSA story together at the same time. Same thing with Diana. Diana, of course, started in the JSA as the secretary. Thank you very much.
All right,
and so she did appear on and off in the story, but never really on a mission until later on. She was always there when they came in to start their meetings or when they came back from a mission or stuff like that. And then after that, after a couple appearances for the JSA, she got a strip in Sensation Comics. And then after a couple months after that, she got her own book. So...
See, I feel like I have a collection, a digital collection. I think it's called Superman in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I feel like that's the book that I have started, didn't get very far in, and I haven't gone back to it yet. But I feel like the very first story is a Batman Superman story, and it's supposed to be the first time maybe they appeared together. So the 50s.
Well, now this Google tells me, or not Google, but whatever Google's AI is.
Yeah.
The first tale of the Superman Batman team ever printed was in Superman 76. So that is 1952.
Okay. So that's probably that issue then that was the first issue in that.
76. So that's only 65 issues after what we're looking at.
Yep. So we're looking at maybe 15, 20 years before we get to it.
I'd start out with 10.
We'll go decade. That's the goal.
I'm not sure. Are these? I don't think Superman's monthly yet. Is he here?
No, it's still quarterly.
Is it still quarterly? Yeah. So maybe it is 15 to 20 years. Yeah. Well, no. I mean, real time, it's 10 years, right? Isn't this 42?
Yeah. I'm just saying, because these Superman stories, we do one story per episode.
Oh yeah.
And then we do the episodes every 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah. It's gonna be a while.
We'll get into Superman 76 about 2032, 33, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, Supes is looking, and then he sees a bomb just materialize and start falling, which it's interesting. The both of these next panels, the perspective of Superman. I don't know. It looks weird. You see the Daily Planet down here, and he's not vertical like you normally would be.
Yeah, it's like you're on top of him almost.
Something, yeah. And then the one where he starts pursuing the bomb, they just chose to draw it at a very different perspective than, up and down, right and left, all being like 90 degrees and all that stuff. Sure. I mean, if he can fly, he can be any which way at any time. So, now I question this next panel some. Alighting on the roof of the newspaper building, Superman whirls like lightning and seizes the falling bomb. No, he doesn't seize it. He holds his hand out and he catches it as the bomb hits his hand like this. Now, my question is, this bomb must not have had an impact fuse, because that would be what ignites the bomb.
Yeah.
Now, it could have a timing fuse, which is what World War II torpedoes have.
Yep.
If you got close enough after the torpedoes had been launched, they would literally bounce off the ship because the ship was closer than what the torpedo had been told.
Yep.
Yeah, and they would literally just dunk off the ship. So a lot of times in movies, trying to be as realistic as you can, you will see the captain tell the navigator to turn the ship into the torpedoes. Because if they can get to a point before the torpedoes do, the torpedo won't explode because they don't have contact detonators. Now, I believe that the bombs all did. Nuclear bombs don't. Now, nuclear bombs never impact. They always air explode because of the nature of an EMF or EMP and all that stuff. So, but I believe these TNT bombs, I believe they had impact detonators. So they would hit the building and then they would blow up. So
you went through the exact same thought process as I did when I got to that part, because there's always been this ridiculous notion since any form of literature, plays, books, comics, movies, whatever. There's always been this ridiculous concept that it doesn't matter how far a person falls, as long as somebody gets underneath them and catches them, it's okay. They're safe, right? You see it all the time in cartoons and junk.
I don't think physics works that way, but okay.
Right. So, but that's the first thing I thought of here. And so, of course, being one of those nerds that I am, I was like, all right, so there's a few different possibilities. And my original thought was this bomb has a timer. And so he caught it, threw it in the air, timer went off. Another explanation could be, since they use the term that Superman whirls like lightning, that it did have a trigger on the nose of the bomb, but he moved so fast. He's moving so fast that he triggers the bomb and is able to throw it out into the sky so fast before that it blows up. Like those 3 panels took just a fraction of a second.
I would think only Flash is fast enough to do something like that, because the triggering of the bomb in real time would be instantaneous.
The only other explanation would be we just didn't see it. It all happened off panel. That what we're seeing there in that first panel in the third row is he had just spent the last 30 feet falling with the bomb, slow and gradually slow.
No.
We're gonna go with timer in the.
It had a timer in it. It didn't have, or if maybe it didn't have a timer. I don't know what other method, but it was not an impact trigger. At the very least, because he would have blown up the whole top of the building with this little stunt there.
Or it was meant to be one of those comedic moments that we see where it's like the bomb drops and it doesn't go, it's a dud. And they pick it up. It's a dud. Toss it over their shoulder and then it explodes.
It sounds like Bugs Bunny or Elmer Fudd.
Well,
so having redisposed of the bomb, and that's a line from a Bugs Bunny cartoon, by the way, redisposed.
Redisposed.
My wife and I watched that TV show too, Ironheart.
I haven't watched it yet. Is it okay?
No.
Is it all right? No.
I've
never read any comics. I think I might have read a couple comics that she was in, but
with Ironheart,
I do want to watch it. There's just so many things I've got in my TV queue right now that it's
my issue was that every ounce of writing for the show leaned into a demographic that I am not.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, it was the setting everything, the setting, the people, the way the people acted, the way the people spoke, the concerns of the people, just everything told me that yeah, we don't mean this for you. You
And
know,
that's fine.
and it's fine, except that the reason I was not the demographic is something I object to.
Okay.
I don't appreciate them pointing out that particular difference and then whole scale leaning into it. Because I believe as a viewer, it does a disservice to me, unless you're going to put some sort of warning. Full penetration sex here. Oh, okay. Well, that's not anything I'm interested in. Otherwise, there was no advance warning of target demographic. Let's explain what that is. And I'm like,
well, what's the target demographic?
People of a darker complexion than myself.
See, because the thing is that those people that the target audience could say the same thing about a lot of TV shows and movies and whatnot that's put out there.
Now, I have to take umbrage with that fact because I disagree. I believe if you close your eyes and you don't look at the color of people, there are more shows that are predominantly white that talk about generic issues than what you are led to believe from what people say. Now, take somebody like Roseanne, for instance. They are and will always be about as Caucasian as you could be. But if you do not see their color, the show is a humor show and it's funny regardless. Stuff happens that happens to anybody, anywhere, as far as jobs and money and children and family and things like that. It's not a white thing.
Well,
it's an everybody experiences it thing. But this show, like I said, they just leaned so heavily into it that it felt like they wanted to exclude anything else. And in my mind, they did a pretty good job for the most part. They talked, the closest was talking about Tony Stark as far as any other demographic. And they only talked about him. He never showed up or anything like that. Otherwise, I was like, wow, they are really telling me that this is not, they don't intend for me to watch the show. Now, of course, their defense would be, well, we didn't keep you from watching it. You know, we didn't set up any kind of barrier that made it harder for you to watch than anybody else. But it was just, they had a demographic and boy, they leaned into it. 8 episodes all the way through. And I was like,
I mean, I think, because I know that there have been plenty times over the last couple of years when I've been watching shows from, the 90s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, that the phrase, that's some real white people shit right there has come up a lot in the household when certain issues come up on shows.
Yes, certain issues, absolutely, and vice versa. There will be things that as a white person, I will never fully understand because I've never had to experience it, so I don't, and I acknowledge that. I don't have a problem with that, but this just felt like I was excluded, and. I mean, I watched it. I watched I watched it. I was entertained. It filled in some gaps of some other things in case it comes up later in other TV shows or movies or whatever. But sitting down looking at it, I was like, dude, that was another case in point. Since we're over here now, something I have noticed and I have a question about. Most of the shows that I see advertised that focus on the non-white experience have to do with drugs or money. Is that the only thing that entertains people who are not white?
No. Why
are so many shows like that?
Because it's kind of like the way the rap industry became there for a while. A lot of these industries are still kind of controlled by white people, and they it's like they want to push up shows like that, or rap was all about, we're not gonna, the record company's not gonna back you. It's not gonna sign you unless you're rapping about certain subject, hoes and bitches and capping cops and stuff like that. And so some rap groups were leaning towards that, not because that's how they felt they needed to express themselves, but because that was the only way they could get a contract. And then once and it's the same thing with TV, is that, of course the question would then become, well, why, as a person of color, why would you be in a show that is glorifying something that the only reason it's glorifying that is because the white people in charge want it to be glorified?
Well, yeah, it's not accurate. I mean,
yeah, it's like, for some folks, they got it. They got to make those choices about, am I going to feed my kids, or it's it's a shitty world, and shits on people.
Take for example the 2 Black Panther movies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very Black centric, even centered in an African country, predominantly Black, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought that was a much more widespread view of the quote unquote, or a Black experience, than a lot of the TV shows that I see that all have to do with drugs and families of drugs, and so I sit there and wonder, is this really the kind of programming that Black people want to see, or do they not have a choice? Or
you think about, I can't speak for any shows a lot of shows that are being currently made now, because I'm not caught up on a lot of stuff, but I think about shows like A Different World, for example, from the 90s.
Okay. All right.
Here's a show that was pretty much created, run by people of color, and it was about that kind of stuff,
it was about people who happened to be Black. I think to me that's the way it came across.
Yeah, and it did present the Black experience for college. I got to tell you, I learned a lot watching shows like that. Good times,
good times, right?
But I do think that the flip side of that is, it's there is a segment of our society, people in charge, that want to glorify the
So you're saying it's probably the white money that is leading the productions of or for Black people to appear that way.
I don't think it's the blame for all of it, but I think that's a big portion. I think it's a big portion.
Okay.
I'm sure there's plenty of Black creators that are like, I'm going to make a movie, and the movie I want to make is about, growing up on the, in this poor neighborhood, and I had to deal with gangs, and I sold drugs to get by, and blah, 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 blah. And that's the story I want to tell, because that's my life. And me growing up in small town Kansas, it's like, I remember within the last 5 or 6 years that it kind of dawned on me, I've never had to have a conversation with my kids about, what to do when you're pulled over by the cop.
Oh, being afraid to be out. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I do my best to recognize things like that. And anybody that's listening, it may sound the way, but I am probably one of the least bigoted or prejudiced people that you will ever find. I know otherwise, and I want to understand why at times what I know doesn't match what I see when they should have a common theme. And that's all.
Well, let's take race completely out of it. Let's talk about what I am, a fat person. Why are there so many shows and so many movies and so many stories that actually star people who are fat, who, just spend the entire time making fun of people who are fat?
The jovial fat person annoys the shit out of me, because every time they're in a movie, they're the jovial life of the. I'm like,
I watch something like that, and I'm like, this is not made for fat people. This is made for people who are not fat that can feel better about the fact that they're not fat. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I certainly know that stuff like that goes on when it comes to money. If you have the money, you get to dictate how it gets done. That, so
it also makes me think of the first time I saw a report, they coming up on the news, coming up on the local news after the break, we're going to teach you how to make your pennies last a bit longer. And I'm like, okay, let's learn some budgeting. And their tips were buy store brand vegetables, canned vegetables. Don't get Dole, don't get, Green
Right.
Giant, get the Walmart brand. It's like, okay, I'm already doing that. Next, don't take your dog to the groomer every week. Maybe go every other week. Okay, I wouldn't take my dog to the groomer every week. That's expensive. I'm not your target audience.
Yeah, I don't take my dog to the groomer to begin with. So,
Your viewership obviously is much, white people who are better off than me,
right.
or just people who are better off than me financially, who may be feeling a slight bit of the sting and, oh, I'm going to have to stop buying great value green beans this week.
Which
Buffy hasn't been to see this.
Buffy.
Buffy hasn't had a manicure in a week.
For those people that don't know already, the same vegetables go into the same cans in the plants like that. They just slap a different label on it most of the time. So there truly is no difference in these three varieties of canned green beans that you see on the shelf side by side.
There are a very small number of products that I insist on getting the name brand. Otherwise, Jif peanut butter. I can't eat any peanut butter other than
off-brand peanut butter is different. I don't know why, but okay. So, and anybody that I may have offended or anything like that, I apologize. It's not my intent. A lot of times shit like this just goes through my head, and anybody that I ask has a different answer depending on their color, depending on their religion, and so I'm like, I understand that, but in my mind, there can only be one truth, only one. And when I hear 4 or 5 versions of something, I'm like, well, what do I believe?
Well, that's where it gets, where it gets tough, because everybody has their own perspective. Based on,
based on their life, based on their world,
based on their life, based on how they grew up, so it's basically, as far as there being only one truth, it's going to be your truth. And so,
no. Truth is
well, it depends on the truth.
Truth is, regardless, if it's not truth, it's a lie. And so there is only one truth. There is a truth. And honestly, in most cases, the truth is, like I said, she that has the money dictates. That is the truth.
That is true.
If you fund it, you can, if you choose to, you can dictate exactly what gets done with your money. And any situation for anything, and that is a truth. So look.
Here's the thing: when I hear you bring stuff up like this, I don't sit here and go, "What a racist piece of shit." To me, it's more like you're. And because I'm the same way, I do it all the time as well. Just trying to understand, and that's the only way that I think that us as a society can get along, is if we all strive to understand. Right? That's kind of but it's because it's such a complicated mess of emotions and information and feelings and perspective. It's the nope, that's the way it is. It's the. When I hear the hate speech, that's what just drives me crazy. I just, But no, I don't get. I think,
Well, and what started all of this is it occurs to me, Black folks can't want all of their TV shows to be like that.
Right.
I do not remotely believe that, but every TV show I see is like, I'm like, that can't be what folks want to see, but new show after new show after returning show, it's, and I'm like, something isn't matching up.
I mean, but think about this for a second. All right. So let's go back in time a bit. So there was a time when, before the TV show Dragnet, when the general belief in America were that cops were crooked. And shows like Dragnet, shows like, what was it called? The FBI. There was a show that
there was a show about the FBI. Yeah.
FBI literally had final say on edit and story. J. Edgar Hoover was in charge, was part of that, and it was all about making the FBI look good. And Dragnet was all about making the cops look good. And,
right.
And so as it would be, there was a particular time in the entertainment industry when cops typically were portrayed on film as dirty. Then shows like Dragnet came along, and then we didn't have, every cop you met in a movie or a TV show wasn't dirty. They'd have to bring in like a private detective or something like that, or the hero of the piece back in the day would be like the private detective, because
right.
They had to deal with the dirty cops that stopped them from solving the case. So, my God, I can't remember the point I was trying to make. We know that there are shows and whatnot that are manipulated to make those in power look good.
They have a message, and a bigger message. Yeah, for sure.
Think about the big thing that old Trumpy is been hammering on lately in Washington, D.C. It's all about crime.
Yep.
Got to stamp down on that crime.
Yep.
And
everything is because of crime.
Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, if he's going to point to an example of crime that they got to stamp out, it's involving person of color.
Brown people. Yep. Brown people cause the crime.
And again, I'm not saying that every, there very well could be some of these shows that you're seeing could be put out there specifically as a propaganda to keep it in people's minds, white people's minds, that that black experience, it's all about crime and drugs and
violent. And it's just, Okay. So there you go, guys. That was Superman in 1942.
Yeah. Let's switch it over to a much more important topic. Have you noticed that the S on Superman's cape is blue in this issue?
Well, no, I'm looking at one right here, and it's red. On this page where he's after the bomb. It's S on these pages here with the bomb falling. I don't think I've noticed a blue S.
Well, there's a blue S. There's a blue S. Blue.
Where?
Right here.
Okay, this is blue S.
The S on the front is red.
Mine is red.
Do you have a scan? This is a scan of the original that I got offline.
This is a scan of the book, not of the actual Superman, but of the Treasury Omnibus or whatever of the Golden Age Superman.
I'm gonna pull up my.
On mine, it's the S is red right there. Somebody's been messing with it.
Mine too. The comics, all the version
So I wonder, is this scan that you're looking at a scan of the actual comic as it came out?
This is supposed to be an actual scan of the comic.
Okay, so there we go. So then when they did it, but to sync it up with all the other occurrences in the reprint, they've made it red, which is, I guess, what it should be commonly. Fixed it. Yeah. So no, I didn't notice it was blue, and it's not my fault I didn't notice.
No, it's not your fault.
I plead the fifth.
Ed, it's not your fault.
It's okay.
Ed, it's not your fault.
I don't believe you.
Trying to do the end of Good Will Hunting.
I was going to say,
man. Stop saying that, man.
Good Will Hunting. Yeah, that was exactly what I. Excellent movie.
It's not your fault. Yeah,
it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Stop saying it. How do you know that name? That's a different movie.
Yeah. So Superman jumps up because he hears the plane, or he thinks he hears the plane. He's going to try to locate it. Up here, he's doing stuff more flyingly than perhaps he has done recently, or probably that he will do in issues after this as well. It's very patchy, kind of,
It's like this artist isn't quite sure. He's seen some of the other issues, and it looks like he's flying, but it also. So I'll just kind of what I can get away with.
I'll hedge back and forth.
Yeah.
Because in this one here, he says, I can't hear its motor. Perhaps it's gone. Who can be its operator? Luther?
That got me super excited.
And he appears to be floating in the air there. So he hears the radio broadcast, local. News flash, the state militia is marching on Metropolis to safeguard the city. So Superman now, again, interesting perspective of his as he's falling back to the ground now.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That second panel in the second row.
Yeah, some weird perspectives for him up in the air.
The third one's weird too in that second row. That's But it's nice to see an artist at this time just trying different stuff.
Yeah, just doing something different just because he can do it different. I mean, nothing says that Superman didn't look like this when
that could very well be literally the artist that day was just like, you know what, I'm getting tired of just do something a little different.
Yeah,
I'm bored.
I've been doing this damn thing for.
Also, we talked about the military, their helmets, how they look like the doughboy. I didn't pick this up when I read it this morning, but when you just read the news flash, they're state militia. So I would assume
maybe they have old equipment.
Yeah,
they have the cast off equipment because they're just the militia. It's not actually the army. Okay, they got the surplus.
That's right.
Army got the good stuff. They're up to date. But okay, yeah. So Superman, excuse me, is heading down on the way to, I don't know, interact with this militia. Zimba is a dangerous foe. I'd better inspect the militia for its own good, is what he did. So he's looking. He thinks Zimba might have done something. Yeah. So he's going to check out the militia. And on the way down, using his X-ray vision, he sees one of the tanks has been booby-trapped with a time bomb. He comes rushing down past the soldiers, through the soldiers, whatever, and just lands and grabs up a tank. I mean, it looks for all the world like he is attacking them. Starting with the heavy artillery, right? Which makes sense. He wouldn't attack the infantrymen because they can't hurt him anyways. But now the bigger munitions, maybe they pose a problem. So that's what I'll go after first. So he lands and he grabs a tank, hoists it up. He's not saying anything. Oh, well, let's see.
He's doing plenty of talking. He's just not doing the right kind of talking.
Yeah, he's not explaining anything or himself or anything. It's small talk.
Because on the previous page, before he picks up the tank, they put this bit in where he says, as he's falling from the sky, one of the soldiers says, "It's Superman." And he says, "Right. And if you'll pardon the lack of formality, I've got work to do." So they're kind of pointing out, I could explain why I'm here, but there's just not enough time. I have to do this quick. And yet, in the time it took him, he could have just went, "There's a bomb on one of the tanks. Get out of my way."
Clear out. The tank is booby trapped. But he grabs it up and I guess he grabs it up and moves it somewhere because I don't know, given the next panel, why he would grab it up. But he grabs it up and then he jumps.
The only other reason he'd pick it up is to make himself look as suspicious as ever.
I guess, yeah. Because the next thing he's doing is he's ripping into the tank to get to the time bomb and pulls the time bomb out of the tank. So, he could have landed on the tank and done that without lifting it up, moving it, flying, running, whatever he does. And so he removes the time bomb, heads off He tells the militia, my suggestion is that you get to Metropolis as quickly as possible, minus one of your tanks, of course, because he probably trashed it pretty good. Here, without a doubt, he is flying in this next panel.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Some way I've got to wipe out this menace before it grows beyond control. Wait, an idea, which, as far as him appearing to fly, what he says has nothing to do with it. It's the way that the panel is drawn.
Yep.
He's laid out, one hand tucked back, one hand in front of him, speed lines, a nice streamlined Superman. I mean, he is flying. There is no doubt about it here.
Yeah, because if you're jumping, unless you're jumping literally just straight off of something that's already high up in the air, so that you're already there's an arc. They're just it's a natural arc that you're.
Well, here, the panel before, he looks like he's jumping.
Yeah,
and then the next panel
level off. During the jump, but then
you're going to go up and down, up and down. Yeah.
He's totally flying. Yeah.
We cut to Metropolis. I would presume is where he is. This is later. I'm sorry. Superman has gotten to Metropolis. He's changed past Clark into Zimba then twists his facial muscles into an amazing transformation. So he puts on an outfit like Zimba and then rearranges using his brain, his facial muscles to look like Zimba. And he does. He looks like Zimba.
This is what put this story over the top for me, because he's done this before. He's done this at least once before. I think it was the story where he took the place of the football player.
Yeah,
but
it was pretty early on.
Yeah, it is the exact same thing. He just twisted his facial muscles in such a way that he's basically a shapeshifter for his face. And so they haven't done it since. And for them to just bring it back in this one, I was like, okay.
He's Clayface before Clayface.
Yeah. Yep.
So disguised as Zimba, Clark goes to the Gold Badge organization. He meets with one of the lower tier guys and tells them, I want a message dispatched at once. Every member of the Gold Badge organization is to come to this meeting place. It won't take them long to get there, the dude tells him. So Clark has everybody coming to one place now. As Zimba, he's given that order. We cut over to Lois, who is at City Hall talking to the mayor, when Zimba comes in to threaten the actual Zimba comes in to threaten the mayor.
That dude just doesn't care anymore. He walks in, there's a reporter present, and just
it doesn't matter. Yeah. Zimba tells the mayor, I'll come down to brass tacks at once. Either offer no opposition or Metropolis will get a taste of the blitzkrieg Metrodale suffered. And the mayor tells him, I'm afraid you hold all the cards. And then Lois jumps in and says, What? Don't be a wuss. Don't let these hoodlums threats frighten you. Tell them where to get off. And then the mayor's like, and he's sweating. He's patting down with a handkerchief. He's like, she's right. Get out of here. I could bet that it was not convincing at all what he said.
No. And the only reason he's doing it is because now he looks like a coward in front of a girl.
Right. Zimba says, very well, you've made your choice. Now prepare to suffer. So he leaves, goes down to the car, and tells the boys in the car, thanks to that meddling of the girl reporter, I failed, but she'll suffer for her interference. And they wait for Lois to leave the building, going to wherever she's going to next, and they kidnap her. So she is in a car with Zimba going, presumably to Zimba's office somewhere, maybe going to where Clark is. We'll have to see, because now Clark is going into the meeting that he called with all of the Gold Badge operatives, still looking like Zimba. And he gives them kind of to me, it was kind of a cross message. First, before he goes into the meeting, he tells the state police to come. Everybody that you need to arrest is going to be at this meeting. And they apparently take his word for it, whoever this dude is that's made the call. And then he goes into the meeting. He says, no doubt many of you are wondering why I've summoned you here. I have a triumphant announcement to make. We're on the brink of success. Law is crumbling before our intimidation. Any who wish to cease acts of sabotage and terrorism may leave. Are you with? So it's like, what we're doing is doing good. But if you don't want to do what we're doing, you can leave. Now, if you don't leave, here's what we're going to do. I'm like,
yeah, it was
what?
a weird. Yeah, that was a weird way.
I guess basically what he's trying to do is he's trying to give those that maybe aren't all bad and out because the police are coming. And so, yeah, I don't know what he was up to.
Yeah, because it didn't bleed into anything. It was
No.
like they didn't have to have that. It was a weird thing to put in. It felt off for it to be there, and there was no reason for it to be there in the first place.
The crowd as one. We're with you. Down with the government. The man down with the foot on the back of your neck. Yeah, okay. Down with the government. The golden badges shall rule. And at that point, the police bust in, start arresting everybody. And some of the members who are paying attention see over at the side here that Zimba transforms into Superman. And they realize that they have been set up by Superman looking like Zimba. And now they're all under arrest. Cut to the car.
I literally forgot for a fraction of a second when I read this. I literally forgot that he was disguised as Zimba.
Okay.
When I got to that panel, I'm like, why is he changing into Superman in front of them? And why is he saying he doesn't need his disguise? What's going on? And then as that
yeah. Oh, that's
came
right.
in, I was like, oh yeah, well, that's right. He said,
yeah,
it
was Superman. He did. Yeah. Several pages ago and 2 or 3 scenes, but yeah.
He manipulated the muscles in his face.
Zimba in the car is about to arrive at this location. So it's their Golden Badge headquarters and sees that the troopers are surrounding the meeting place. MEETING dash. Yeah, that must be some kind of typo or something. Threw me off. State troopers are there. They're surrounded. Okay, don't stop here because they'll get us too. Keep going. Well, Superman now has left and sees the car continue on. And he knows that Lois is in the car. It doesn't tell us how, but I guess he can see her somehow.
Look how gracelessly he's falling from the sky and that.
He is literally falling.
Yeah.
Here he is not flying. This is he's just jumped out of whatever window the meeting room is, and he's just he will stop when he hits the ground. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
The driver says we're being tailed by Superman, and let's see. Lois says, "Swell, you won't have me captive much longer." And then Zimba says, "No, you underestimate my ingenuity." And he picks up a mic in the car and orders the give it away. Well, kind of. He says, "Pilot, do you hear me? Land at the customary place, but at once." And so as Superman is gunning for the car, he is almost struck by a bomb, I guess, that the airplane released to distract him from the fact that they're going to land over here and pick up Zimba, which it doesn't necessarily give you that impression, but I think that's the flow of where the story was going, because when he recovers from being close to this bomb explosion, it sent him hurtling back through the air. And the narrator tells us when Superman revives, yeah, right, whatever. He sees the car, goes to the car, there's nobody in it. And then he's like, okay, it must have been this plane. And he kind of hears, again, the motor in the sky somewhere. Doing his best to leap after the plane, which this is kind of a thing, because I know as human beings, if we want to do something in a particular direction and we just immediately respond in that direction, a lot of times you will be looking the right way. Like if, say you're out with a weapon of some sort, a rifle or a pistol, and something startles you, if you just draw on what it is and shoot, more than likely you will hit whatever it is that startled you, because your first instinct is the correct one wherever it is. So he heard something and he just leaps towards what he hears, and he runs into something solid, and then Kool-Aid Man's his way into the airplane from the outside and says, so that's it. It was completely enclosed in glass. No. That reflected the sky in clouds. It wouldn't be glass because you could see red
glass.
Yeah. It was maybe mirrors.
Yeah.
Which, do you know that this is a way they camouflage airplanes nowadays?
With mirrors?
The bottom of the plane will have screens covering it.
Oh, cool.
Connected to a camera pointed above. And so that the scene above it is what is on those little screens on the belly.
They're live streaming.
Yeah, and that way you can't tell the difference. And that's, I don't know if they use it anymore, but that was one of the methods they experimented with when they were working on stealth technology. That was one of the ways. And maybe for some applications they still do stuff like that to throw you off. But yeah. So I thought that was cool. I'm like, hey, yeah, they kind of do that nowadays still. So Zimba, very clever, my dear Superman, but did you count on this? And he draws down on Lois, and then let's see. Superman says, don't fire at her. One of the pilot tells Superman, then get off this vessel. And Lois says, don't mind me, Superman, do as they say. So, yeah. Wait, before leaving, I'd like to have my curiosity satisfied. How did you manage to blow up the entire suburb of Metrodale? And Zimba says, that was a neat bit of sabotage, eh? Very well, I'll tell you. It's really quite simple. Members of the Golden Badge organization disguised as meter readers placed the bombs in the basements of homes and apartments. And during this discussion, Lois tries to get away, diverting the attention, causing Zimba to just fire blindly in the airplane, which we all know is something you never want to do. You don't just fire weapons in airplanes. She ducks down. Superman ultimately scoops her up because in firing the weapon, Zimba has destroyed the controls for the airplane. The airplane is plummeting to the ground. Superman has Lois in tow and takes her down and lands on the ground with her. The assumption is that Zimba died in the plane crash because the plane crashed nose first. I mean, it's a biggie. Lands with Lois. When will I see you again, she asks, and he says, sooner than you realize. Wink, wink. Later that day in the newspaper office, after she had handed in her story, Lois ponders, I'm still trying to figure out that last remark Superman made. It sort of strikes a response in the back of my mind. And Clark here is saying, then why bother?
I don't understand that response.
I'm not sure. But here is the second reference that you made about Lois trying to connect the dots, maybe. Yeah. So
it's almost like basically, I think his response is ultimately him just trying to, stop thinking about it. It's too late. It's too late, Clark. You're the reason she's thinking about it because you're stupid. You said you're that stupid thing earlier as Clark, and then you said something stupid as Superman.
Yeah.
And now he's like, don't worry about it. Don't even bother thinking about it. Don't worry.
And
pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Thus ends the first story of the 11th issue of Superman. Have
you read any of the other stories in this?
No, I read them as we get ready to record.
I have not read them either. I haven't even looked at the titles, but I am going to lay out a bet.
Okay.
Which usually means I'm going to be wrong. The fact that they mention Luthor in this story as a little annoying teaser because it wasn't Luthor, I think he's going to show up in one of the other three stories.
Okay, could be. They're planting those seeds.
It's my guesstimation.
Okay.
This was a fun story. Was it crazy? No. But there were a lot of just really great moments, from Perry White punching the Zimba, which had a lot. It made me think a lot of that story about Jack Kirby punching the
punching Nazis. Yep.
You had Superman doing the face muscle disguise, which he hadn't done in a while.
Right, and he had only done once before.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
You had him dropping from the sky in all kinds of weird poses.
Yep.
And Lois is starting to wonder if Superman and Clark Kent are the same person. It's weird because they don't, even though it's brought up twice, she doesn't actually say it out loud. You can tell that's what she's thinking. They're hinting strongly that that's what she's thinking, right. But it's like, because they haven't said it out loud, I guess it kind of instills how much doubt she still has.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of an inkling at this point. That is kind of strange. I'm a famous reporter. I should be able to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Apparently not.
Yeah.
Well, but she is a reporter that writes, I forget what they are, women features, or whatever. Initially, the section she wrote before she wanted to go out and do hard-boiled stories.
Yeah, I forget what it was. Was it Lonely Hearts? I don't think that was the name.
I thought it was more like geared for married women and doing chores around the house and buying, sewing, stuff like that. Womanly at the time kind of stuff. It seems to me some kind of not piece, but a column about something. And then once Clark got on scene, all of a sudden she wanted to be the hard-boiled investigative reporter, which, as we know, will ultimately lead her to being the editor-in-chief of the paper nowadays. So it works out for her pretty well. And I think, isn't there a time period, maybe now also, that Clark is the editor-in-chief?
I don't know.
Seems like I don't know if that was in Elseworlds that I recently read or something like that too, that he does a stint as editor-in-chief. So yes, I agree. All of those reasons.
What'd you think of the art?
It was okay. Coming really to be a fan of comic books in the 90s, the art of the Golden Age in my mind really can't touch what some of these guys were able to do in the 90s that I read every month, but it works. Case in point, Clark Kent Superman is Clark Kent Superman. Every time you see him, you can recognize actually that they're both the same person.
Yeah.
Now, when Clark took on the guise of Zimba, he looked like Zimba. So he was drawn just like Zimba was. There was no question that that's what he was doing. Lois is a female, and I know how this sounds, but hang on a minute. Lois is a female, and she looks like a female. She doesn't look like any of the other guys. Vice versa. Perry looks different. He looks like now what we have associated as Perry. So everybody that needs to looks their way, and consistently they look their way. Yeah. So you start to, excuse me, it falls down, which it does with a lot of artists, in group panels. When you have a bunch of white guys, or you have a bunch of women, or you have a bunch of soldiers, or what, then they start to look like they were just done the same in different poses or whatever. But otherwise, any characters that you have to keep up with pretty typically look like different characters, and they did in this issue. So, I mean, that's what the art is supposed to do. A lot of movement by Superman, like you said, a lot of flying and falling and speed lines, and so you get a lot of motion from Superman, and it works. That's what it looks like. So is it my favorite art? No, not by a long shot. Does it do what it is supposed to? At very minimum, yes. Perhaps even well compared to some other Golden Age stuff that I have seen. So it is having a difficult time with reading Golden Age stories. Is it going to be because of this particular artwork for me? which art usually isn't the case. Usually what makes Golden Age stories tough for me is story. But
yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Like I said, if it's not in my top 5, it's top 10 easily. It does make me want to maybe by the next time we get together, maybe I'll have a top 5, top 10 put together. I think I'll just go through the list of episodes and read the episode descriptions, and any that I immediately recognize will automatically go on the list, and then I'll start narrowing them down from there.
Because you recognized it left some sort of mark. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Anything else you want to say about what was the name of this freaking thing? Zimba's Gold Badge Terrorists.
And that is not Zimba the Lion, by the way. That's a completely... Zimba the Lion, who was that?
That was Simba.
Well, I believe there was a Zimba. There was a manga by Tezuka.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I believe it was Zimba. But yes, there is also a Simba the Lion that was animated somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
Probably based on Zimba from Tezuka.
Yeah.
Probably.
Matter of fact, that's once you mention that, it's like, oh, that, because I've seen like YouTube videos where people point out how the one is a direct ripoff of
Osama. That was his name. Osama Tezuka. Yeah. No, I don't think there's really anything else for me to say.
All right. Well, let's wrap this sucker up. In our next episode, we travel forward in time from the Golden Age and back to post-crisis Superman. As she's jogging through the park with Clark Kent, Lois Lane hears a ruckus coming from a nearby bank. Our intrepid reporters investigate and find a great muscly man with white hair ripping up the joint. Or just ripping up the joint. As first Clark and then Superman attempt to intervene, they quickly discover there's more to this guy than the kind of steely thews that even Conan of Cimmeria would admire. That's coming up in 2 weeks on episode 91, when Ed and I are going to take a look at Superman #1, Heart of Stone, published by DC Comics in October of 1996. Published by DC Comics. Good Lord, then my throat closed up. I can never do anything small.
That's what she said. Oh, sorry.
That was a good one.
We're gonna have to cut that.
No.
We can't let that one get by.
That was a good one. That's staying in. All right, I'm gonna do this little part over. That's coming up in 2 weeks on episode number 91, when Ed and I are going to take a look at Superman #1, Heart of Stone, published by DC Comics in October of 1986. So until next week, folks, I'm Steven. That's Ed. And this was the Superman Super Show. Thanks for listening.
Ciao. Guess what?
What?
I completely forgot to turn on Audacity.
Oh my God. Guess what? So did I.
So
as you were saying that, I looked down because I was going to stop. I was like,
so was I. I'm like, I didn't even turn it on, did I? And I looked and it's like, nope.
This will be a direct from the audio, to take the audio directly off of the video, basically. Usually, it takes about 24 hours before I can download a live stream video, and then Audacity will convert it, the video to audio. Pretty cool.
Yeah, but you use StreamYard, right? Yeah, obviously. You shouldn't be able to download the audio without paying.
No, if you're doing just a recording, that's probably what they're talking about. Because I'm not downloading anything from StreamYard. When the video is done processing on YouTube, through my YouTube account, I can download the video.
Okay. I got you.
And then, Audacity has that encoder that will look at the M4A or whatever the video is, and then just basically convert it so it's nothing but audio.
Okay.
And I've done that with 1 or 2 of our episodes because we've forgotten to.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I had Audacity up and open and everything. And it's like, never.
I didn't even open up Audacity. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. And I've spent a lot of that morning getting the episode ready to go because I read the story this morning, started the notes last night, but did all this stuff to get ready. And that the one thing I forgot was to even just open Audacity, Because usually that's my hint. Oh, the Audacity's down there in the taskbar. I better.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not that worried about it.
Okay.
It's a good episode. All right, folks. Those of you watching the video, thanks for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and stop the live stream. Before we go, though, we want to go ahead, I guess, tentatively plan 2 weeks from now is the 30th.
Yes, and looks like I'm okay.
Okay. So we'll pencil that in. And with Palin back at school, Rana, she's gotten her a new job, but it's going to be weekdays. So I should have my weekends free going forward. So, yeah. Well, free, unless I got to go run errands and get groceries and that kind of stuff.
Free-ish.
Free-ish, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to end the live stream now. Bye, y'all.